So in this video for section 3, we're going to be talking about collecting data. And the first and most important topic here is population versus sample. So let's explore this, these two definitions, okay? So the population in a statistical study is the entire group of individuals we want the information about. So for example, let's say I wanted to know what college students think about, I don't know, some new program. Can't think of anything right now. So the population, the population that we want to learn about is all college students, perhaps in the United States. So that's a population. And in the ideal world, I would go to every single person. So those are our units of observation would be each and every college student. I would send them a survey and ask them what they think. And they would return the information to me, and I would have 100% accurate information about what all students think about that program. However, in a real world, we have obstacles to this type of study. First of all, it's very time consuming and money consuming to create a survey, that many surveys, reach every single person. Also, we have another obstacle. Not everyone wants to participate in the survey. So some people will not return the ballot to me. Or, by the way, this is what happens during the census time when United States government, they send out the census to every single household, and they have some trouble collecting all the information. Another problem with that is that people lie on their answers, right? Especially the immigration status, something that may impact them, and they don't trust the government. They lie on their survey. Number two, we have some parts of the population that are not reached, they're lost to our census, and those are the homeless people. They're not accessed by this survey. And also the third obstacle, as we already said, is the time and money. So it may not be very practical to actually reach every single person. So an easier way to get an opinion would be to take a subgroup from a population and study their responses, and then project a finding onto the entire population. So obviously, for certain reasons, it's not ideal, but it's more manageable, we'll say. We're going to talk about why it's not ideal and what kind of problems we can run into selecting samples. That's our next topic right now. But but this is the idea. The sample, basically, the population is the group that we want to learn about, some characteristic of a population. A sample is a subgroup from the population that represents that population. It's a smaller group that represents the population. But in order for it to be really representative, we have to actually employ a really good techniques for sampling. The techniques that are based on randomness. And that's what we're gonna discuss later. Now, the information, the measurements that we get from the population are called parameters, and the measurements that we get from the sample, we call them statistic. Remember that statistic with a small s that we were talking about earlier? So that's what you get from sample. So for example, the term mean in statistics is used instead of algebraic average. So basically mean is algebraic average. So let's say, for example, that I wanted to learn how tall students at Mesa College are, right? So the average height of the population would be mean of the population, and it is a parameter, and it's denoted by a Greek letter mu that you see right here. And mu is the population mean, and it refers to population, right? So similarly, if we take a sample, a subset from Mesa College students, and we get their average height, is going to be a sample mean. So see, it's a mean and a mean, same measurement, the average height, but because it comes from a sample rather than a population, this is a statistic. Okay, and we know that it's statistic because we use a different symbol for it. So the mean of the population is a Greek letter mu. The sample mean is a Roman X with a bar. And that's how you know right away in the formula later, if you're looking at the formula, you know whether we're talking about sample mean or population mean based on what letter is used to represent this parameter or statistic. Now let's take a look at this example and see if you can identify the population here and the statistic and the sample. It says a political scientist wants to know how college students feel about the Social Security system. She obtains a list of the 3,456 undergraduates at her college and mails a questionnaire to 250 students selected at random. Only 104 questionnaires are returned. Okay, so I want you to pause this video right now and try to answer the questions by yourself. What is the population in this study? What is the sample? What are the observational units? What are the variable? And what are some reasons this sample is not representative of the actual population that she's interested in? So pause the video right now. And we're gonna continue. So welcome back. Hopefully you did pause the video and try to answer the questions. What is the population in this study? Well, she wants to know how college students feel about Social Security system. So the population is all college students. So that's the group that she's interested in. Okay. What is the sample? So the sample is that she selected was 250 students selected, but only 104 returned the questionnaire. So I would say 250 selected. So it's a subgroup that was selected. Only 104 returned the questionnaire. So that means we have a case of missing data from those 250. And basically, this is a common problem with studies. People don't want to give the information. Basically, the only people that are willing to return the information are the ones that have a very strong opinion. And basically, it's going to question D. What are the reasons that it's not representative? Is one of the reasons is some people did not return their questionnaires, so they probably do not have a strong opinion, either positive or negative, and so their opinions are omitted all at once, not willingly, but because they didn't return their surveys. All right, so what are the observational units here? So who is she collecting the data from? She's collecting them from students, undergraduate students. So undergrads at her college. All right. And what is the variable? Is basically the variable that she's asking is their opinion about the Social Security system. Okay, so what are some reasons that the sample is not represented? Well, missing information, missing answers. So another reasons could be that she only reached the undergraduates. Well, the graduates are also part of, also considered students, right? So missing some answers, also missing information from, or let's say, uh, not missing, but omitted graduate students. Okay, what are some other reasons that you may think? And another problem that she had with the study is that she only reached students in her college, at her college. So only students from her college. So basically, think about San Diego. We have 3 colleges, UC, and then SDSU, and UCSD. So, and if you think about student populations in those colleges, they're very different, and they may have very different opinion on the matter. And so, if she restricted the surveys only to her college, she again her data will be biased.